Hello and welcome to the channel. This video is about the Caravan reverse camera. I made one mistake when I fitted this camera, and that was wiring the live feed for the camera and transmitter to the reverse light. That's okay when it's in reverse, you've got power, but take it out of reverse, you've got no camera. So what I want to do is rewire it to the ignition live feed from the car, which comes into the Caravan. The kit came in this box. The reason it's so big is because it came with a number plate holder which fits there, and the camera fits in this slot. The reason I didn't use this is because I didn't want to start drilling holes in this rear bumper for wiring and so on, because I purchased the kit in March 2016 and the Caravan had just started its 3-year extended manufacturer's warranty, because when I purchased the Caravan I took the extended warranty out to have a total of 6 years of manufacturer's warranty. They sent me a different bracket. I fitted that to my L-shaped bracket which is fixed to the underside of the bumper. The kit also comes with a transmitter which is behind this panel and a receiver which is in the car, and we'll look at the car side of things later in the video. This is the camera spec. I paid near on 230 and it's from Trailer Vision. I'm going to take this panel off. There's 2 screws here and I've already taken the one off on the side, and you'll be able to see how I've fixed the transmitter, and at the same time I can disconnect the wiring from the reverse light. Take the caps off. You might be able to see the I'll bring the camera in a bit closer. This is the transmitter, digital wireless audio video sender. I've put a screw in there, I don't know if you can see it, a screw there because the double-sided tape wouldn't stick, and obviously there's your aerial. Take the reversing light off. There's a clip under here. That's the reverse light out. And I've used piggyback connectors to connect the camera power supply up. Taking the tape off of that one, take the tape off of this one. Disconnect that. Disconnect the piggyback connector. That's the original earth back in. Take that one out. The original reverse light wire back in. And that's it. You would never know I'd connected the camera up there. That's the advantage of these piggyback connectors. So that can be pulled out and the reverse light can go back in. That's the metal clip, what you push up with the screwdriver. Hook that up on the top here, like that, and then push in. This wire coming from the camera splits into 3. Red and black for live and earth. The third one is the video feed which goes to the transmitter. And these connectors I took off the reverse light. The reason there's 2 reds and 2 blacks is because the transmitter needs power as well as the camera. But I'll be using these to extend my wiring through to the new power source rather than the reverse light. To extend the wiring through to my new power source position, I'm going to use this 44 strand twin wiring that I've got spare. So rather than purchase new wiring, I might as well just use what I've got. Now, because I'm going to run it underneath the Caravan and it's going to be exposed to the elements, I've bought this heat shrink tubing. So I thought I'd thread that inside the tubing and that'll provide double protection. Finally got the wiring through the heat shrink. bit of a struggle, wouldn't go through on its own because it's too flexible, so I had to use the nylon draw tape that I use for electrical wiring through conduits. I even had to have help with that, and it was a bit of a struggle, but it's through now. What I do now is heat it up using the heat gun. That's it, that's the heat shrunk. It looks like a proper cable now. What I need to do next is trace the ignition pin in the Caravan electrical plug through to the inside of the Caravan. Well, in the owner's handbook it states pin 10 is power supply controlled by ignition switch. And what I'm going to do to trace it is use this 4-metre extension cable I've got, plug the Caravan plug into the extension side of the socket, like that, and then run this to the inside of the Caravan. This is the back of the fuse box. There's not a lot of space here. I use this pencil to point things out. This is the 12-core cable coming from the Caravan plug. These wires split off to this multi-plug connector, and they go back under the Caravan and feed the rear lights. And then the other wires go into that multi-plug, and that feeds the permanent live for the ATC and the ignition feed. And then the others are the return earths. So that's the one I need to pull out and do my test. I've got to get this screwdriver in here and pull this plug off. That's it. Don't worry, the power is switched off. That's why I've got an LED light here. That's the plug I want. Right, I'll do the test. So I'll try the brown red, and that should be the 3rd pin up from the bottom. Yeah. Just try the brown blue, that should be the 4th pin up. Yeah. I think the next test I should do is plug this into the car, see if there's permanent live on the brown blue, and the brown red should be dead, and then turn the ignition on and the brown red should become live. Right, we're plugged into the car. We'll try the blue brown. .87 volts. Look at the red brown. No, that's dropping, so there's nothing in there. So the theory is, if I turn the ignition on, the red-brown should become live. So they should be powering the red-brown. 11.71. Yeah. I mean, that'll go up once you start the engine. So it's the red-brown that I need. The return for pin 10 is pin 11. Let's just check this one. Yeah, that's that one. So that's the green-white. I'm going to cut, say, that much off this wire. Strip the ends. I'm going to use this two-way connector. Comes with the terminals. So now they're crimped on, I'm going to slot these into this one. So the red one will go into that side. Just get it the right way around because there's a little tab there. And that clicks in position, so that's on that side. That's clicked in, and then that one goes that way. That's clicked in. That's in. What I'm doing, I'm taking these two terminals out of the block. That's them two out. What I'm doing is stripping a bit of this PVC back on these two wires, because I'm going to solder these two onto them. So I've threaded some heat shrink over them, ready to pull over once I've soldered the wires on. Try and get a bit of solder on here. Slide the heat shrink over. So we'll do this one. That's that one soldered. I'll slide the heat shrink over. Heat this heat shrink up. Next I'll push these terminals back in position, get them the right way round. So the red and brown goes next to the blue and brown. That should click in place. Yep, that's in. And the green white goes next to the blue white. Need to get that in the correct orientation. That's that way. Yep, that's clicked in. That's looking good. Before I plug this back in, these four are the permanent live and ignition live, and their two respective returns. And these two wires here come out of the PDU, power delivery unit, and go to this multi-connector, two-way connector, which then feeds the ATC trailer control. Right, I'm going to plug this back into the circuit board. If I can get in there. A bit difficult. What I'm going to do now is plug the Caravan back into the car, and the theory is the ATC should do its self-check, and there should be no power in my new connector here. I'll use a different tester to test for the power, and then I'll turn the ignition on, and then we should have power at this new connection point. The ATC has done its self-check, so we're okay there. I'll try this connector. There's no power. So I'll go and turn the ignition on. All the lighting's gone off in the Caravan, which means it's activated the habitation relay, which cuts off all the internal 12 volts. So we should have power in this connector now. Yeah, there you go. So that's exactly what I want. Next job is to get the wiring up from underneath the Caravan. I'm going to put the male ends on. It's those two on. I'm going to push this through the hole in the floor of the Caravan from underneath, and it should come out at the back of the fuse box. Let's see if the wiring is here. Yep, here it is. Right, just got to slot these terminals into the plug. Just got to get it the right way around. So black to the bottom one. Perfect. I'm pleased with that. Got to get this wire now through all these cable clips. Bit difficult one-handed. I've run the cable under the Caravan, clipped it adjacent to the rear lights cable. Just running it behind this rear bumper. Oh, bits are falling on me. Got it through, and it's worked out ever so well. That's the end of the heat shrink, and I might as well cut off the excess. So if I cut it off, well, say there, just leave a little bit spare. There. Then I'll strip the ends off and put a couple of crimp-on terminals on. I'll put a bit of heat shrink on these. If I connect these to the piggyback sides, what I could do is put heat shrink over both of them. Then it'll leave that end of that terminal for any future connections. While I'm at it, I'm going to put some heat shrink on these two connectors. That's it, that's the inline fuse. And we can get the rear bumper piece back in place. Well, that's this part of the bumper back on. You'll have to excuse the muck. I've been scrambling around underneath the Caravan clipping the cable on. I'll just quickly show you the cable clipped on. This is where it goes into the rear bumper, and I've clipped it with zip ties to the existing rear lighting cable all the way under the Caravan to where it comes in behind the fuse box. And for my finishing touch, a couple of labels. Vehicle ignition, reverse camera. I'll put the vehicle ignition label on this short fly lead. And I'll put the reverse camera label on the wiring coming from the camera. I think that's a nice finishing touch. Now it looks like this wire has been provided at the factory. There you go. I think it looks really smart. So I'm pleased with that. All I need to do is just tuck it under there. That's it. Finished. Right, we'll have a look at the car side of the camera system. I'm in the boot of the car and I need to show you behind this panel. What I've got tucked behind this panel is the receiver. That's the aerial, and the wiring is the red plug is the power, which goes to the standard 12 volt plug, which plugs into this 12 volt socket, and the yellow plug is the video signal, and that's connected to this wiring which goes under this equipment and over to the other side of the car. That's the vehicle's camera control unit. I'll take it out and you'll be able to see the connections. The grey plug is the vehicle's reverse camera. I don't know what the green one's for, and then there's a spare brown one. Now, these are like screened cables, similar to coax cables, I suppose. And I don't know whether you can connect like an external camera to these. That's something that I don't know. So I'll go over to the other side. Now we're going to have a look behind this panel. There are a few control units here. This bottom one is the MMI, which is the multimedia interface for the sat-nav and other things that go on in the MMI. The top one is the Bose surround sound. This is the tow bar release, and this is the one we're interested in. The middle one is the TV tuner, because it's got factory fit TV reception. Now, when you have TV reception, you can have the optional accessory kits of 2 external audio video inputs. Well, that's one of them, not in use, and the other one is the one we've just looked at on the other side of the car, which picks up the video signal from the Caravan reverse camera, and that's how I get the camera image on the MMI screen in the dashboard. Caravan's hooked up, car's packed, and all I need to do where the Caravan reverse camera is concerned is plug the receiver's 12 volt plug into this 12 volt socket. That's all I need to do. Now we're on site, I need to select the external AV input in the MMI system. So I'll press media, shortcut key, and then need to select the source, external AV input, and I've got the camera connected to AV1. Now the problem is when I put the vehicle in reverse, it switches on the vehicle's camera, and what I need to do is turn that off by pressing the park button, and now I've got the Caravan camera back up. There you go. Now that I've rewired the Caravan camera to the ignition wire inside the Caravan, I've got a live picture when I move forward, like that. Whereas previously, when it was wired to the reverse light, you would take the car out of reverse, and that would cut off the power to the camera. That's how far you can see. There's a fence in the distance. So I've set the camera so you can see the ground 8 inches or 200mm from the back of the Caravan where I've placed that stick, and that's the measuring tape. I'll show you the measurement. 200mm or 8 inches to the stick. One thing I've got to bear in mind is if I reverse too fast or drive forward too fast, it cancels the picture. So I'll demonstrate now. There's nobody behind me. There you are, it's cancelled the picture. Now I'll go forward. The same goes for the TV. If I select TV, I've got News 24 on, and I'll drive forward and the picture will go out but the audio will stay on. So that's how I get the Caravan's reverse camera image onto the vehicle's built-in screen. I mean, today's cameras, they'll have better resolution and better frames per second rate, but this is good enough for the few minutes it takes to reverse the Caravan onto the pitch. So I hope you found this useful or interesting, and hope to see you on the next video.